Hi, it's Maya here, and this is the second part of my August wrap-up. I only read 3 books in the latter half of August. I read a lot during the first half, which I went through in the first part of my August wrap-up, but a lot of those books weren't that great, so it put me in a bit of a reading slump and I couldn't concentrate on reading. So I am going to talk about 3 books in this part, and that means that it'll be a lot shorter of a video than the first part. So the first thing that I finished in late August was Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. This is a classic of gay literature. It was written in the 50s and it actually takes place in 1950s Paris. A young man called David, who is an American, is spending time in Paris and he meets a barman called Giovanni and falls in love with him. The thing that I liked the best in this book was the writing style. It was gorgeous. The atmosphere gripped me right from the first page. This is certainly a tragedy. It is quite clear from the very first page that things have not gone well. And this is a story about failed relationships and about people who are quite lost with their identity and what they want to be. There is David himself, who has for all of his life run away from the fact that he is gay. And there is Hela, who is a girl that David has proposed, but who is currently spending some time in Spain. And then there is Giovanni himself. David has a lot of shame about his sexuality, and this manifests a lot, especially in the way that he interacts with effeminate gay men. There is quite harsh language in one page where it's quite clear that David absolutely detests these men, the ones that talk and act in a way that David thinks of as feminine. So the book is quite dark in tone, even though it is beautifully written, but I still really enjoyed it and I gave it 4 stars. If you want a gay classic that's a bit more optimistic, I would recommend Maurice by E.M. Forster. This was written in 1914, but it was only published in the 70s. It also has some relationship difficulties, but it is a lot more positive than the mood in Giovanni's Room. And the next thing that I finished was Curtsies Conspiracies by Gail Carriger, the second part in the Finishing School series. And I like this so much better than the first book. The first book, I really couldn't get into it that well. But in this one of the reasons why I think I liked it better was because the focus was on the vampires. And I really like learning about the vampire society and having more vampire characters around. I really like vampires in general, but also in the Parasol Protectorate universe, the vampire society is one of my favorite things in it. And there was also one great cameo from a vampire character. One of the other reasons why I could get into this better was because all of the introductions of the characters and the setting was already done in the first book. So I knew the characters better, even though I still don't like them as much as I do the characters in Parasol Protectorate. This series is about a group of girls who study in a finishing school that not only teaches the usual stuff like etiquette, but also teaches these girls to be spies and assassins. And where the first book was a weak 3 stars, this was a very strong 3 stars, so much that I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads. And I'm actually currently reading the third book, which I hope will have something more to do with werewolves, since the second one was so focused on vampires. And the last book that I read in August was Lord Edgware Dies by Agatha Christie. This is another Poirot book, which I'm reading in order. And this was a good mystery, but it wasn't one of my favorites. In some of the books, there are side characters that really capture my interest, but there wasn't a favorite for me in this one. The plot is that, like the title says, Lord Edgware dies, and conveniently her wife has just said the previous day that she could go and kill him. So Poirot investigates. This was a 3.5 star Poirot books for me. Like I said, a good mystery, but didn't really grip me like some of the others do. And there was this thing where Christie mentions that the character is Jewish, right before she mentions that the character is really into money. So the character's Jewishness is never remarked upon again, but her greediness is, so she couldn't just have been money hungry without being Jewish. Like, really. So those were the 3 books that I read in the latter half of August. Thankfully, I'm out of my slump and I'm having fun reading again. Has your September been off to a good start? Let me know in the comments and I'll see you later.